Okay, so here we have a functional question excuse me, involving gravelling a particular driveway. And what we've got to recognise here is that it's going to cover the driveway with gravel, so that means we're going to end up with a volume because we're going to end up with a depth. Now what we've got to realise with this question, it's really important, this is that the depth is given in centimetres and the width and length of the driveway are given in metres. So we need to make sure we change to have the same units. So we're going to work in cubic metres because when we look at the question it talks about 0.4 of a cubic metre of gravel in each bag. So we'll work in cubic metres, so we'll work in metres. So the first thing we're going to do is work out the volume of gravel. So again, try and be clear on our workings. So the volume, well, it's going to be a cuboid because it's like a rectangle and a depth underneath it. So we're going to end up with 11 times 4 times 0.6. So we end up with, it's a calculator paper, so 11 times 4 times 0.6, so 26.4. So we have 26.4 cubic metres of gravel needed, and it's telling us that each bag is 0.4. So work out the number of bags. We're going to do 26.4 divided by 0.4. So divide by 0.4. So 66 bags needed. And it says that each bag of gravel costs £38. So we end up doing 66 times actually that seems a lot of bags and it's very expensive, and I've just realised that as always we should check carefully what we're doing. That was actually 0.06 of a metre, so we actually need 2.64 cubic metres, and therefore we're doing 2.64 divided by 0.4, which actually gives us 6.6 bags. And because we can't buy part of a bag, then we're going to need 7 bags. So 7 bags needed. And to work that out then, we're going to notice that the bag costs £38 each. So it's an expensive gravel we're using. So we're going to need to do 7 times 38, and 7 times 38 equals £266. So it's going to cost £266 for the gravel, but we then realise as we go through ticking off the bits we recognise, so we've recognised that, recognise that, recognise that, then it gets a discount of 30%. So the final cost is going to be 0.7, because if we've got a 30% discount, then that's equivalent to 70% to pay, and 70% as a decimal and as a percentage multiplier is 0.7. So the final cost is going to be 0.7 times 266, so 0.7 times 266, so we get 186.2 on our calculator, but this is about money, so remember to put the 0 on the end, so that we get £186 and 20p. Okay, so again, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It's important to check what makes sense, and I suddenly realised that 66 bags at 38 quid each is going to be a very expensive driveway, so that didn't seem reasonable. So rechecking, I'd written the wrong number here, and it's 0.06 I had to use for the depth in metres, and therefore it changed to a more sensible value. Okay, so that's an example of applied functionality. Again, notice, good idea to tick off every sentence so that you can see that you've taken account of all the important information, particularly things like this, which are quite easy to miss off because you kind of get into your mind that you're working out the cost of the gravel, and then you forget to think through what will be the final answer with the discount.